we're already so good, and then we still
Well,
have Bayonetta 3,
you,
and we
yeah, and you
still
got
have Breath of
this.
the
You want
Wild.
to talk about games that are going to eat up a lot of my Nintendo Switch time? It's going to be this Kirby game.
Oh yeah, I can't. Oh, I can't wait. It's gonna be great. Yeah. So what do you think about Mouthful Mode for Kirby? I was waiting
You
for the hook to show up. Like when we first saw the first trailer. Everyone was like Kirby in 3D, but I'm like, okay, that's not the hook though. What's the Cappy transformation hook for this Kirby game? And I guess
Sure.
it's Mouthful Mode.
Yeah, I'm indifferent toward the actual idea. I was already sold on the idea of a Kirby game. I
Hmm.
feel Mouthful Mode is honestly a little weird for a Kirby game since the whole idea is Kirby transforming into other objects. Why would he just be like the hood of this car? I like that. That's a little weird to me, but I
Hmm.
still love it. I still think it's cool. I love Kirby games so much. Top three Nintendo franchise for me.
Hmm.
And the more I see this game and I see the colors and
It
the
looks better
aesthetic
and
of
better
and
every
the
time we see it.
shine, yeah, I'm
And it
sold.
already looked good the first time we saw it, and then every trailer after that, it's just looking better and better and better. Like,
Yeah,
like we were saying
the
earlier.
lighting's a little more baked in.
Yeah,
It looks great.
like we were saying earlier. Like the Switch sometimes has its graphical pushes a little bit, but when art style is simplistic and colorful and animated like this on it just looks up there with like the next gen. It's perfect. It's beautiful. So great.
Kirby Kirby games are polished so well you could take that polish and sell it as lotion. It's so good. I I am I'm so happy
He
for this
looks
one, man.
great, man. So yeah, Kirby Mouthful Mode. Basically, give Kirby huge, realistic objects that, I guess technically this is the loophole for Kirby, right? He can't transform into something unless it's a living object. Unless he can absorb its essence from its life force, he can't become it. So I guess they're just like, we're gonna take advantage of Kirby's elasticity and
Sure.
just make him turn into these objects, or at least use these objects in a useful way. So that's cool. Also, I think another big hook of this game is the Waddle Dee's Weapon Shop, where you can basically find resources when you're out in these levels, and you can use those resources to basically enhance your copy abilities. So you're not just using regular sword anymore. You're using Gigantasword, or you're not regularly using regular ice. Using Frosty Ice, Toy Hammer, all this stuff. Dragon Fire that lets
Yeah,
you
so
glide.
Kirby games generally have a puzzle element to them. They have
Hmm.
collectibles and stuff. So I foresee that option, like to get a stronger hammer or to get a stronger sword, being a necessity to find certain collectibles within the game. Like,
Yeah,
oh, you
find all
can
the
break
Waddle Dees. Yeah,
walls with cracks with this hammer, but you can knock down the entire wall in some cases if you have the stronger hammer.
yeah.
And I also want real quickly I want to come up with a better polish remark because I feel like my previous one didn't quite hit the mark. Kirby games are so polished you could clean a car with it.
Or you could
Good.
just eat the
Right there.
car.
You could eat the car. You can be like Kirby and eat the car. There you go.
That's so great. I what was your reaction though? Like when you saw, oh, we're gonna get a car, Kirby, and then we're like, no, we get Kirby on a car.
Yeah, so I had the Nintendo Direct stream open, and I also had a friend stream open in the background, and
Hmm.
she said something to the effect of, "Yeah, Kirby vore that car," and then Kirby actually vored the car, and I was just like chuckling.
I
I
mean,
laughed.
literally as soon I like imagine just whoever in the writers in the storyboard room or whatever, just being like, "Yo, okay, open world Kirby game. We gotta give him a way to get around faster. Okay, let him turn into a car. He already has his wheel ability, right? No, just put a car in his mouth.
Now you can be the
You
car.
could be well, you could be over the. It's like the Kirby. I guarantee in Japan they're gonna have car covers that look like Kirby.
I
That would be
hope, and
amazing.
I might even buy one myself.
But yeah, that's so silly. It's like this is that Nintendo magic where you're just like Kirby go vroom, Kirby just car mouth. So
Yeah, I think they
silly.
went with this instead of the wheel ability, as well as a couple
Yeah,
of these other
that
things,
makes
just to take
sense.
it.
Because that looks
Well,
like just
I
like
think they did
fridge
it.
Kirby.
I think they did it just because, with the game being in full 3D, I could see the developers and designers trying to think of what are some things that properly utilize the 3D space.
Yeah.
So they probably came up with different forms of machinery that were bigger than the abilities that Kirby normally has. Because the wheel ability, it's kind of small, right? And
Yeah.
Kirby has also had Jet in the past, but it's kind of small. They need. The more I look at these power-ups, the more big I see Kirby becoming, and I think that's solely to take advantage of the fact that the game is 3D,
Yeah.
so that you occupy more space and can do more stuff.
Yeah, but also even talking about how some of these things could have just been abilities. Yeah, like obviously we see like Wheel Kirby here. Like you could have still given him that like ability, but it's like contextualize those things, like being like Kirby's just using these real world objects and he's just using them because that's literally also there's a lot of things that kind of nod back to the N64 Crystal Shards game in my head, right? So like I said, vending mouth Kirby, that just reminds me of refrigerator Kirby with electric and ice, right?
Yeah.
If we go to say light bulb Kirby, that's like double electricity, I think. What else we got? We got water balloon. I mean, that's just water Kirby from Return to Dreamland.
Yeah, pretty much.
But let's see. If we go to the actual copy abilities, though, when you enhance some of those, I don't know if we had anything like Chakram Kirby before, but the fire ability, Volcano Fire, into Kirby 64, if you do like double
There's rock and
fire,
rock.
yeah,
Rock and fire,
yeah, rock and fire, you get Volcano form, and then Cluster Needle, that's just double needle, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so I'm just like, oh, that's cool. They're actually like breaking into a lot of some of this Kirby history a little bit with some of these copy abilities and some of these references. Like, there's going to be a lot of really cool references in this game because this is just like a celebration of Kirby, and we're breaking into a new like layer of his canon, basically. So,
oh, for sure, Kirby games always reference older Kirby games.
Uh-huh.
This will be no exception.
So this will be amazing. What else we got going on here? In terms of that Waddle Dee town, I didn't expect those numbers to be so big. Did you?
I don't know what I was expecting, to be completely honest.
Yeah, me neither. But like, we get here, I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. It'll probably take like what, 10 Waddle Dees to make the shop? Nah, 60. And I'm like, bro, how long will it take for me to build this town up? And how many Waddle Dees are actually missing? I mean,
well,
the main thing
like 10 Waddle Dees per level or something like that.
Maybe, yeah, because these levels will probably be pretty big.
Like,
but
this
also
will probably be like the keychains in Triple Deluxe.
Right,
where there's
yeah.
So many, and then you do the goal game at the end, and then that can get you more keychains and stuff like that. So this probably isn't the game's main collectible, but it is a collectible.
Yeah. But also even with Kirby games, right? They're never like like if you've been in the game since the beginning, Kirby games aren't that hard of games, but it's 100%ing a Kirby game where the difficulty lies. Well, that's where you're adding those extra hours. So I'm looking forward to seeing how much game time I get out of this. So that's gonna be a fun time. I'm really looking forward to this. I got even more excited once we saw the weapon shop and everything. This is gonna be great. It's gonna be. Oh, also, last thing. I don't know if you peeped this. That's just Mr. Frosty or whatever. He's usually cuter than this. He's not as he never looks as punished like this before.
I've had a conversation with some other people about this, that a lot of the enemies, I guess not the Waddle Dees, but a lot of the enemies that will appear in this game will be very monstrous because it's like an apocalyptic setting. So we discussed the idea of more apocalyptic classic Kirby enemies showing up.
Yeah, even like DDD looking punished, however he ends up looking. So that's going to be interesting. And that final boss is going to be Nightmare Fuel. So